Oh, good morning. It's man cave time. Although it's not quite as sunny as we've been used to. We've been spoiled a bit for the last week, but it's a bit grey this morning. But yeah, it's not looking too bad. This one's had to be in two halves. I split it in two. It's a trip I took last week across to North Wales, a little jaunt on Blizzard. The problem of having a camera that's got a long battery life, shall we say, is that you can end up with an awful lot of footage to sort out. And I must have about 4 hours footage, and my laptop can't handle that sort of footage before I start cutting it. So yeah, I've got to do this in two parts. So this one, we go out to into Snowdonia, into the southern edge of Snowdonia, across to Tremadog, nice little cafe at Tremadog, and then across through Porthmadog, over the Cob, and round to Harlech and its castle, and other things that I'll tell you about when we get there. But like I say, this is part one. Have a look through it, see what you think, tell me what you think, and yeah, give us a thumbs up if you can. So, welcome to part one of Blizzard's Welsh Jaunt, the second time this year. See what you think. Cheers. Well, welcome back, folks, and here we are at the Old Stores Cafe again, ready for another brief sojourn into the Principality, as they say. Where are we going this time? Well, you just have to wait and see. I'm not all that sure myself, to be honest, but let's see where we get to, shall we? I'll switch off for now, and I'll see you again when we get closer to wherever it is I end up going. See you in a bit. And we're back. And you rejoin me on the southwestern fringe, I suppose you could say, of the Snowdonia National Park. And I've got a good idea of where I want to go. Whether I get there is another matter. I'm saying nothing yet in case I don't manage it. But indeed, we are effectively in the shadow of the mountain that gives Snowdonia its name, Mount Snowdon, or to give it its Welsh name, up there on the right, Iwyddfa. We're not far from Porthmadog at the minute. We'll be passing through Porthmadog presently, but first my dear old tummy's rumbling, and I know where there's a good cafe. Well, it certainly used to be a good cafe, a climber's cafe really. Now those railway lines, they're not Festino Railway. Memory serves, it's the Welsh Highland Railway that runs out of Porthmadog up to Bethgillet. So no, we're not although the railway goes up to Bethgelert, we're not going up to Bethgelert, we're going the opposite direction. Those hills over to the left, those are the Mulwins. Snowdonia is made up of various groups of hills or mountains. Those really are on the southwestern edge of Snowdonia. The Mulwins, various other groups, the Gliders, the Corneddau, the Arons, quite a few groups. These rocks above us here, this was the centre of my universe on iffy days weather-wise in the mountains. Down here at Tremadog, these roadside crags would be quite often be dry when everything else was wringing wet. Absolutely marvellous place to come climbing is Tremadog. But this was the cafe I got in mind. Now I don't even know whether he's still with us, to be honest, but the guy that started this cafe up is a marvellous character, really accomplished climber. Like I say, this is all Tremadog here. A fantastic climber, a solo alpinist, solo winter ascent of the north face of the edgae, which was something else. But he's made a name for himself as a stuntman as well. He's a stunt double for Sean Connery on at least one occasion. He doubled for him in the Highlander, the original Highlander film. But yes, Eric was one hell of an accomplished character. But that's by the by. I've stopped here for some lunch, so I'll switch off for now and I'll see you after lunch. Well, that was a nice lunch in what is now the Cowshed Cafe, another Cowshed. What I have to say, the man's name is Eric Jones. It's one of the most iconic climbers that this country's ever produced. Memory's letting me down, but I was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of it. Well, that's the time of day with him, with Eric, a sprightly 88-year-old. Still climbing, still skiing, and he's a biker now. He's got a V-Strom. So that was Tremadog. From here we're going to head into Porthmadog, across the Cob. Anybody who's spent any time at Porthmadog will know exactly what I mean by the Cob. Yes, the Cowshed is now run by a couple from Stoke-on-Trent. Tremadog itself, the village of Tremadog itself, is a really pleasant little village. And doesn't suffer with the visitor level, the tourist level that its neighbour suffers with across at Porthmadog itself. As you see as we come through Porthmadog, it can be a bit full. Yes, this is the line I was talking about that we crossed a short way back, the Welsh Highland Railway. This is Porthmadog we're coming into now, or Porthmadog. One of the things it's most famous for, Porthmadog, has been the terminus for the Steepest Mountain Railway. Beautiful little narrow gauge line. It was the Steepest line was a mineral line. It was a little railway, a little narrow gauge railway that was put in for transporting slate from the slate quarries up in the Mulwyn Mountains that I was talking about a little while ago. So that was the town, and here we've got coming to the estuary where we're going to cross via the Cob. And that's a railway station over on the right here, and the Cob is this causeway in front of us, and there's a train here waiting to depart. Just nicely hidden from us by the stone wall. Let's have a look which one it is. Merthyr Emrys. Oh, the lovely smell of steam engine. So there we've got those Mulwyn Mountains, the Mulwyns, up on the left. And further inland is the great mountain itself, Snowdon, or Uwithfa. Well, I've not realised that. There's no toll anymore. There used to be a nominal toll to pay to cross the Cob, but that's gone. It's a shame, really. I certainly never begrudged it. Right, I'm going to switch off now and switch on again when I get closer to my next destination. And we're back again. So now we're coming into Harlech. Up above us, resplendent on its rocky knoll, is probably the thing that Harlech's best known for, which is its castle. One of Wales's great castles is Harlech. The other thing that Harlech is famous for, and I'm not going to attempt to sing because I tried it once and I just about got away with my life. You think about the International Eisteddfod, and very often the one song that comes into your mind, or certainly comes into my mind, is Men of Harlech. Like I say, I'm not going to even attempt to do it. Beautifully performed by numerous male voice choirs here in Wales, and it is indeed an impressive castle. Looking up at it as we are. But there's another feature here at Harlech that I picked up on. I didn't know it's of its existence. I do watch, it's a channel called The Great British Motorcycle Adventure. It's a great channel. It's it's good enough to be a TV documentary, in my opinion. The couple that do it, and they found this a few months ago now. Allegedly, the steepest street in the world. Well, it has held the Guinness record for the steep. It's held it for a few years. Previously held by the town of Dunedin in New Zealand, but it was taken by, and I've gone sailing straight past it. The record was taken by Harlech quite some years ago, but Dunedin were not too happy about it, so they've investigated a different way of measuring the there we go, Porthmadog, the world's steepest street. But I think I've got to come in from the other side because there's a no entry sign there. So, yeah. So we'll go and find t'other end, shall we? I might have known if there's two ways of going at it, I'll go the wrong one. So let's go and find the top of the world's steepest street. I do think, from what I can gather, the record is held by Dunedin again at the minute. But how long that'll last is anybody's guess. We're directly below Harlech Castle here, the ramparts of the castle. Built in the 13th century by Edward I during his invasion of Wales, but it fell to Owen Glendower. In the early 1400s. So this is the cattle entrance now. Mighty fine viewpoint as well. Now then, this is the top of the world's steepest street. I was hoping to come up it, but never mind, we'll go down it instead. Fantastic view as we drop down. Says he's just chattering nervously at the minute. I think what it is there are one or two short sections that are indeed steeper even than the steepest part of the Hard Knot Pass. Perhaps just here, for instance. Oh, and this bit, yeah. Just talking nervously now.
I can see why it's one way. You wouldn't want to meet anything coming up, would you? Even some dope on a motorbike. So there we go. I've navigated the steepest street in the world, allegedly. Allegedly. So that was Harlech. And with that, I'll switch off again for a few minutes until our next destination.